Happy Monday, everybody. Week 3 is rolling along. We have one game left. The Baltimore Ravens hosting the Detroit Lions on Monday Night Football. So we're not going to talk about that one, but we're going to talk about all the other stuff, and we're going to feel or fuck it. In the process, I'm Bob Harris. He's Matt Waldman. He says you already know who we are. I won't waste too much time, but find him at Football Guys. Find me at Football Guys. Find me on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. Go to mattwaldman.com for the rookie scouting portfolio. It's the best thing ever. All right, Matt. Well, it's the second best thing ever. Second best thing. Because clearly Cam Skattebo is the best thing ever, as we saw last night. Cam Skattebo will be the lead back for the New York Giants moving forward. Feel it or fuck it.
I'd just scream and wail like he does when he walks through meetings, but I didn't want to hurt your ears. Yeah, I'm feeling that. I think that we've seen by far that he's, the only real weakness he has is pass protection, and some people would consider it a strength because they like seeing someone ram their head into the chest of a defender. He certainly plays all out. You see the contact balance, the movement. He's got good burst around the corner. All these things we saw at Arizona State, and he catches the ball well, and I think that the increase in carries, though he didn't get the start last week, they're making him earn it, but he's doing that.
It feels like this ship had left the station last week, right? Like, like they started pulling away and now it's going further. Tyrone Tracy was hurt in the game, a shoulder injury, had x-rays. We don't know how bad it was. Didn't look great, though. But irregardless, this was happening. I can remember writing about this at the draft that the Giants felt he was ideally suited because their offensive line does not block great. If you look at the PFF metrics from Skattebo from college, he is okay when his offensive line is not great. I don't know how long that'll serve him well in the NFL, but we'll find out. So we agree he is the guy going forward. We're both feeling that. Caleb Williams, the Chicago Bears quarterback, 4 touchdowns, career high in yardage. This performance against Dallas is his emerging moment. Feel it or fuck it, Matt.
Fuck it. I don't believe that. I mean, I think that
emerging moment.
It is an emerging moment, but it isn't the emerging moment.
Right.
That's for sure. Because I think that there's still going to be ups and downs this entire year. If you've noticed, he played a Lions defense that played a lot more man coverage, and they got creamed. And, also watching him against the Cowboys, Russell Wilson threw multiple touchdowns to Wan'Dale Robinson up seams, and the Cowboys are awful up the seams because they play a lot of zone and they don't have the pass rush to get anybody there to provide the extra layer of coverage that pass rush does, because Micah Parsons is now a Packer. And as a result of that, I think Williams did what he was supposed to do against a really bad defense, and so he had a great game. And I'm a big Caleb Williams fan, but I don't think that this is that moment. I think you're going to see some more valleys before we get to a steady dosage of peaks. But
this was his emerging moment, like it was Russell Wilson's last week against the Cowboys.
Right. Yes.
Right. I mean, but honestly, this is what we've talked about with Caleb Williams in the past. Is we've tasted that high side. We get little glimpses of it, and I think it's encouraging. But yeah, an emerging moment, not the emerging moment. On the other hand, Luther Burden the third, 100-yard game. He will emerge as the starter by late October. Feel it or fuck it.
I'm still maintaining that it's going to be by late October, no later than that, because we're seeing a very gradual increase in snaps and opportunities, and he started to get some work at the end of the half. They had a big play drawn up for him that they used and was very successful. He got a tough first down on a play on a run where you could see he was one of 3 receivers who earned some sort of reverse or some sort of end around type of play, and he looked good. I mean, his effort in the blocking game was okay. So I think that his time is going to continue to grow, and we may see, DJ Moore put in more of a mini Deebo Samuel type of role. They gave him some carries out of the backfield this week. And I think they're going to do a little bit more of that and give Burden a little bit more work downfield, because I think Burden may end up showing that he's a little bit more reliable of a route runner. We'll see.
All right, so we saw a little bit of a shifting for Kansas City last night. We saw Breshard Smith get a few carries. Patrick Mahomes still the leading rusher on that team. well ahead of Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt. Breshard Smith time is coming. Feel it or fuck it.
Fuck it. I don't think it's going to happen this year. I like Breshard Smith. I like his burst, but one of the little nuggets that we heard from the game broadcast crew was Chris Collinsworth actually talking to Andy Reid about Breshard Smith. Are we going to see a little bit more with him with that? And the comment was, the takeaway was that Breshard Smith, it ain't going to happen, that he's just not quite big enough. They don't feel like he's quite big enough at this point to be a lead back and to be a significant contributor at this time. So we'll see if maybe he gains a little bit more muscle next year, or there's enough injuries that they decide that they've got to roll with him. But I have a feeling that Smith just hasn't proven enough yet, and I don't think they're going to give him that opportunity, because I think more of the issues have to do with the offensive line than it does have to do with Isaiah Pacheco, even though there was a pass play where Pacheco turned the wrong way on a route that you're just like, you should know better, and the ball was thrown as a fumble as a result of that.
I think the big concern for both those guys, Isaiah Pacheco has looked no better than he did late last season coming off the injury. The expectation, or what we were told during training camp, does not match what we are seeing on the field now. And Kareem Hunt, best days clearly behind him. So, I could see like maybe Breshard Smith continuing to play a little bit of a role, but taking over the lead role. This is going to continue to be a three-way split, or continue to be a split, mostly Pacheco and Hunt, but they might find a little work for Smith like they did last night. But yes, I don't think he's a feature back material either. Travis Kelce, done as an elite fantasy producer. Feel it or fuck it.
I'm going to say feel it.
Andy Reid might agree.
You might disagree. I hope he disagrees.
He might agree.
He might agree.
I hope he agrees. They were going at it a little bit in that game.
Yeah, they were. I just think Kelce used to be the example that I've given for many years about what an elite tight end looks like in terms of ability to run routes, and he still has that short area quickness to be able to work the underneath game, and he can get open on crossers, but he's not that guy that you can match up against a corner now and automatically win and do it downfield. He can do it in the short range. They need more weapons around him to become that effective player. He can't be the lead guy in this offense. I don't think it works.
Well, that seems to be, they need a lead guy really bad. Tyquan Thornton was it last night.
Yeah.
We'll see Xavier Worthy coming back next week. We're halfway through a 6-game suspension for Rashee Rice. Does this offense get better when all the pieces are back?
I think it does, but I don't know how much better. Just because, I think Rashee certainly helps a ton. If Worthy takes that next step, then yes, I think it can happen. But they need those guys fast.
Tyreek Hill, speaking of fast, done as an elite fantasy producer. Feel it or fuck it.
No, fuck it. Watching him against the Bills on Thursday night, you could see that all the characteristics are there of the elite athlete that he's been, and he can still run good routes. It's just that he doesn't have a quarterback who can throw the ball vertically. There was a play that was like a skinny post, it looked like, and Tua could not lead him. Just could not lead him. He had to throw a moon ball on those types of throws, and you've seen that over and over again. If Tyreek Hill had a strong arm quarterback, he would still probably be a 1,400-yard producer.
Interesting. Wouldn't Patrick Mahomes fit that mold?
Yes, he very much would. It would be fun to see a reunion of those two.
We'll see if some of those pieces are coming together in Kansas City. Do they feel the need, or do they get desperate because, well, it's not going well? We'll see. We'll see what's going on there. Harold Fannin Jr., Matt Waldman favorite. Will he fade into the fantasy background this year? Feel it or fuck it?
Fuck it. As I said last week, the toothpaste out of the tube. And after watching, even though there was a play that I don't believe counted, and he, his snaps may not be satisfactory for people looking for a top 10 tight end right now. What we're seeing every time he gets the ball is impactful play. Breaking multiple tackles, getting first downs, running routes that David Njoku just can't run. And I know that they've tried to use Isaiah Bond a little bit more. They used Jamari Thrash a little bit more against the Packers. But when it came time to actually score some points in this game and drive at late in the game in the fourth quarter, guess who was on the field? Harold Fannin. And Harold Fannin was making the timely plays. I think they're going to realize, especially with Quinshon Judkins running through people and getting, playing well, that the combination of this defense that just crushed Jordan Love, and this and these two tight end alignments, they can keep those two tight end alignments going if they play this style of football. The run game, good defense. They're going to be close enough in games that they're going to feel like they don't need that added layer of explosion on as often as other teams do. And I think that what Fannin does after the catch has really been notable. So I would expect to see steady work for him, maybe as a low end tight end one.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, he's still the de facto wide receiver 3. You said it. Unless we see Bond or somebody else like suddenly rise up, I don't see any reason why we would see a significant shift in usage at this point. I haven't looked at the target shares after this game, but I mean, going into this, he was well ahead of David Njoku.
And Bond looked good. He had a nice catch over the middle, and
right,
I think
it's going to be a process, right?
I think so, and I still think that there's a shot that he might overtake somebody else. We'll see.
I feel like a Cedric Tillman shot or Jerry Jeudy. Which is it, Matt?
I don't know which one, honestly. I mean, like Tillman both have their moments. Jeudy didn't have a particularly good game, but some of that had to do more with his quarterback than it had to do with him.
Now, speaking of quarterbacks, Daniel Jones is for real, or as the kids once said, faux Rizzle.
No Rizzle. No Rizzle.
No Rizzle,
that.
no Riz.
Fuck the Riz. Fuck the Rizzle. Fuck the faux Rizzle. Yeah, that. No.
Let me rephrase. Shane Steichen can figure out how to make this work by limiting opportunities for Daniel Jones to make mistakes and leaning heavily on Jonathan Taylor.
Until scouts start giving teams enough to implement game plans against Daniel Jones. And I think that game plan's going to be the test for Daniel Jones before we can say he's for real, is when defenses can stop this one read, highly schemed up offense that the Colts have been. And that may be hard to do if they can continue to run the ball with Jonathan Taylor as effectively as they have. But if they can force Daniel Jones to make a second or third read more consistently and apply some pressure, I think we're going to see Daniel Jones come down to earth.
I felt like you were about to go full Daniel Jones on us there for a brief moment, and I'm glad you.
He's earned his name this year. He's earned his name.
Yeah, it's definitely done that.
Now the eyes thing, he's got to fix that eyes thing. You
can't fix that.
I don't think.
That's not a feature. That's not a bug. That's a feature.
That's like a Ted Bundy look, dude. I mean, or Charlie.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Kyron Williams, 20 carries, 94 yards against the Eagles. Blake Corum, 8 carries, 53 yards, a bit more per carry there. Is this turning into a committee? Feel it or fuck it?
I would say I'm slightly feeling that. I'm not ready to say fuck it, but I'm kind of feeling that's a possibility because Sean McVay, I mean, listen, we've seen him in the past with Kyron, and he would ride him all the time for the past couple years. But I'm thinking Corum's earned his way, and I think that Sean McVay is giving some begrudging respect to the young vet, the second-year player who's looking good, and I think he's gonna earn a little bit more with that. Is it going to be an even split? I don't think so, but we'll see. And if Kyron can't stay healthy, Blake Corum could be a guy who ends up they have to do some gymnastics to figure out how he's going to be their lead back.
I talked to Jake Ellenbogen from Downtown Rams on my radio show yesterday, and kind of asked him the same question to see what was going on. He kind of played it out the same there. I mean, it's still going to be the Kyron Williams show, but we're definitely going to have some side orders of Blake Corum and maybe some tasty tidbits from him in the red zone as we saw last week. So I'm with you there. Here. This is a special just for you. Kirk Cousins will be getting his job back in Atlanta. Feel it or fuck it.
Yeah, fuck that. That ain't happening. I think Michael Penix had a bad day. Obviously,
What do you
he
think?
he had a couple of he had a couple of bad interceptions where he tried to throw the ball outside where there was the defender over the top, and should have been there were a couple of near pick six scenarios there with that. But at the end of the day too, there was a lot that was wrong with what was going on with Atlanta on Sunday. Penix certainly needs to fix what he missed there, but the Panthers did a little bit better than the Vikings and the Bucks with the blitz. They were able to send guys with some disguises where I think Penix knew the blitz was coming, but he didn't make the right reads in terms of where he needed to go. And I think that, I'm going to take a little deeper look into that game probably to see what's going on this week. But I did notice a couple of plays where if he had read where some of the disguises were coming from, they tried to disguise it from multiple points. And I think Carolina succeeded in that. And so Penix may have seen one disguise, but didn't see the second. And that second disguise was where he needed to throw the ball, and he failed to do so. And then there were drops, and there were some other issues. I expect Penix to rebound. I'm not too concerned about this, but I think they decided the game was out of hand and let him sit and let him watch a little bit, and rather than destroy his confidence. And I think that was a smart thing to do.
Shutouts are not the norm. I expect them not to be the norm going forward. Whoever the quarterback is, whether the great Kirk Cousins and the noodle arm he brings to the table, or Michael Penix Jr., the Waldman favorite. No, I'm just being a
He
dick
is.
now.
That's all right.
I'm just being
I
a
live
dick
with it.
now.
That's all right.
It is correct. Fuck it. They're not making a change now. The Bills will have 1,000-yard receiver this year. Feel it or fuck it.
Fuck it. I don't believe it. I think we've seen what's going on there, which is just spread that ball around as much as possible. Daniel Jones is the hero of that offense. I'm not Daniel Jones.
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen, excuse me.
His eyes are same guy, different eyes.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Very different eyes. That's true. Same hair maybe. Or no, Daniel's got a little nicer hair, I think. I don't know. But
I don't know about that.
yeah, I don't know.
I'm not qualified to speak on that.
Look, Ricky Bobby certainly can spread the ball around pretty well in Buffalo, and I just think that we're going to see Shakir and Coleman come close to that, but with Tyrell Shavers getting the ball, Dalton Kincaid being a guy at certain points, what they can do with Elijah Moore on occasion, there's just this offense isn't about lionizing a receiver, and there may be some guys who could do it, like both Shakir and Coleman could be perennial 1,000-yard guys if they were in another town.
That's 100% it. This is the plan. This is not an accident. This is what Joe Brady has been hammering into Josh Allen since he took over this offense. The open man is the target. And beyond that, there is no one getting the ball forced to them. Not even the great Dalton Kincaid. Marvin Harrison Jr. for the Arizona Cardinals. Droppable. Feel it or fuck it.
Fuck it. It's closer though. It makes you pause just because this dude is, I think, losing some confidence, has dropped some targets that he really should not be dropping. And he just, it doesn't look good. And I think part of it is the offense, part of it is Kyler Murray, and part of it is Marvin Harrison and what he owns. And I think that, getting bigger and more muscular, doesn't really help if you're not working on, your flaws in your technique. And he has some real flaws there.
Context, 3 weeks into the season, we have, let's see, Mike Evans, wide receiver 33, A.J. Brown, wide receiver 39, Drake London, wide receiver 41, Ladd McConkey, wide receiver 42, Marvin Harrison Jr., wide receiver 43. Let's go down the Brian Thomas Jr., wide receiver 52, Terry McLaurin, wide receiver 55. We're not releasing any of those guys at this point in our fantasy football seasons. At some point soon, we'll have some hard decisions to make. But variance is still working against them more than their own abilities, I believe. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
But fuck that. I'm not.
But Brian Thomas, just as a note, it was Shane Waldron who is the coordinator. Liam Cohen, the mastermind, has the former Bears coordinator running this offense. And wasn't it Jackson Smith and Jigba who made, like, when it was interviewed about Waldron going to the Bears, he was like, is this live? And he said, yeah, what do you have to say about what would you tell the Bears? Well, he's a nice guy. That was about all he could say about his offensive coordinator that left Seattle and headed there. So I don't know.
We'll see if that's the limiting factor. The target shares have not been limiting factors,
No.
and that's what I'm more interested in so far. The points will come as long as the volume continues to come, as A.J. Brown told us yesterday. The great professor of receiving, A.J. Brown, taught me a lesson. No.
He kind of is.
Well, he kind of is, but also, we've just got to come to grips with the fact that everything we draft to happen doesn't happen just because we drafted it to happen, right? There are processes involved in everything, and all these players, there are changes. There shouldn't be as changes in Arizona, right? There's a full year to
Not
work,
yet.
but they've still got to kind of sort out what this offense is. They have another big, obstacle to overcome with the loss of James Conner. So the process might be ongoing in Arizona for a little while. And the only constant is the only constant anyone drafted to be a constant, and that's Trey McBride. You didn't really pay up for Marvin Harrison Jr. this year like you did last year. We all learned our lesson. So there you have it. Fuck
Yeah.
that. Not droppable yet. Hard decisions coming. Tetairoa McMillan is a number one wide receiver talent. Feel it or fuck it.
Fuck it. I'm not sure he's a number two wide receiver talent right now. Watching him in the past few weeks, what I've noticed is, yeah, he makes the George Pickens ooh and ah type of acrobatic adjustments. But the problem with that is that when you ask him to actually run a man-to-man press route, he doesn't get open. He doesn't show good footwork. He doesn't show the ability to understand what concepts he needs to use to get open. And he has times when he's facing tight man coverage that he overthinks things, and as a result, he doesn't even use the correct technique to catch the ball. It reminds me of what I saw at Arizona with Tetairoa McMillan. So I think he's a talented athlete who can catch a football and run after the catch, and in zone he can get open, and against some contested catch situations he can. But when you're facing tight man coverage, he's not getting it done, and they're scheming him open right now. They're either using him in zone or they're scheming him open. Like the fourth down catch that he had yesterday was basically a pick play. The ball that he dropped was a man-to-man coverage play where he had to get a good release off of tight man coverage, and he didn't really do it. And he didn't catch the ball. He dropped it. He had some plays that there's more on the bone here for him to get better at, and I think he's a year away.
He may well be. Jordan Schultz. I don't like to take gratuitous shots at guys out there doing their thing on X. Jordan Schultz is a pretty solid insider, gets good information. But how he gets that information is he is a glowing endorser of every single player, so that they see in his timeline all the glowing mentions of them, and they become his sources. Tetairoa McMillan will be an all-pro wide receiver in the NFL. I don't know how many of you are watching, but this dude has been catching everything. That was his comment yesterday. And not saying he's wrong, but I'm saying the hyperbole that comes out sometimes during these.
Did he catch retinopathy? Did he catch pink eye? Did he catch a ragweed allergy? I don't know.
I think what he caught is the desire to have Tetairoa McMillan, as somebody who is going to crawl up in his DMs and become a relationship that he can further leverage to forward his career. There's some of that goes on as I'm seeing people. Yes, that. All right, Javonte. He's doing his job, kind of, but man, he is really over the top about it. I'll say this, Jordan. You're not being. We know what you're up to, right? If you don't think we are, if you don't think we know, we do. All right, Javonte Williams is for real this year. Feel it or fuck it.
Oh, I'm feeling it. He looks like Tar Heel Javonte Williams. He's running hard. He's bleeding yards after contact. He's making smart decisions. The strength of that Cowboys team right now is the run offense and the line. They're going to need every bit of that with CeeDee Lamb out for a little bit, possibly. But I do think that Williams. I think Williams is going to be up to the task. Is he a running back one? I don't know if he's going to stay that way, but I think that he can definitely be a solid running back too, and you'll be happy with that.
Feel that as well. I think, just use we'll see if Jaden Blue turns into a thing. I'm almost encouraged that they aren't making him active yet. They're slow rolling this thing, and that all my investments in Jaden Blue were basically made that it's going to be a slow roll. But if Javonte Williams keeps playing like this, I don't know if my investments are ever going to come true. He's looking very good. Kavonte Turpin has also looked good. He's a legitimate ad now while Lamb is out, assuming the ankle sprain he suffered yesterday cost him some time.
Short term, absolutely, he is. He had a tough catch up the sideline where they tried to throw it in that honey hole, and he got laid out by the safety. I mean, that was like a 1990s style hit that he took and held onto the football, and he was productive even after that. So he didn't shy away. He was good after the catch. He does have Dak Prescott's trust, too. I think he's going to give you anything remotely close to CD Lamb numbers? No, because Jalen Tolbert will take some of that away too. They're going to do a two-man attempt to lift off here to cover for CD. But I think Turpin gives you the best opportunities because of the fact that he plays inside and a lot of the looks that he's going to get from being an inside guy.
Nick Chubb needs more touches. Feel it or fuck it.
Feel it. He could
Every
be
running
70.
back.
He could be 74 and need more touches.
Every running back
in this household, but see, dog's running out. He heard Nick Chubb. That is the only running
the
back.
The old box safety says, "No, sir,
he
business
said, no,
decision."
Thank you, business. That's the only running back he'll make a business decision with. But no, seriously, I mean, he's looking pretty good. But the problem is you need to get your running backs into a rhythm, and you're not really doing that. And it's a bad offensive line, and I understand that this offense has been kind of dreck anyway. But at the same time, I think that Chubb has shown enough, and I think D'Amico Ryans needs to get out of the denial and preconceived notion that he had of him.
Seems reasonable enough. I don't know. Every running back needs more touches. I think this is a much simpler argument than all this. Give him touches. Something good will happen. Well, maybe not every running back. We'll talk about that. Right. Let's get right into that right now. Ryan Clark is right about Ashton Jeanty. And if you did not hear, Ryan Clark does not think Ashton Jeanty is a generational talent. I believe was there a Trent Richardson comparison thrown in for good measure?
There was. He compared him to Trent Richardson, and as Adam Harstead said last week on our Film and Theory show, 98% of the backs that get compared to Trent Richardson year one go on to have great careers. Jonathan Taylor being the latest one who before Jeanty. Now, what Ryan Clark did was great for entertainment value. Most of you who listen to this show know that obviously aren't listening to ESPN and the infotainment that they do there sometimes, the talk show host format. And Clark's very successful at that. He's a smart dude. He's someone who certainly does a great job with his monologues for entertainment value, and he's a former player. Now, he opened his mouth and told Peter Schrager that he needed to stay quiet on a certain subject because he wasn't a former player, and Schrager tried to pipe back on that, and the fantasy community kind of liked that because Ryan Clark kind of took a shot there with that as well. But I'll say, as a part of his fantasy community and also a part of a community of people who actually scout players and who by the work that I do, and I've had NFL players literally cut me up, basically turn around in line somewhere in public and cut off a Hall of Fame quarterback to say that they've learned more about skill positions from my work than they did playing in the NFL. And I had witnesses, who I cited on Twitter who saw that and were like, yeah, I remember that. I will say that just because you played defensive back in the NFL doesn't mean that you know a damn thing about running back play. And what his monologue showed was, at least what it didn't show knowledge of running back play. It showed that, he didn't have that it factor that I saw. And I think it stems back to that he didn't participate in the combine, and he tried to use this whole kind of like psychology idea of, well, these guys are peacocks who preen and they want to show how athletic they are, and the fact that he didn't want to show it is a big sign against him. Which I'm sure if I dug up the number of running backs who didn't participate in the combine, who actually ended up being good running backs, that would probably put that argument out to pasture. But the fact that he didn't talk about footwork, didn't talk about decision making, didn't talk about vision, didn't talk about pad level, didn't talk about any type of skill set that running backs have, it's just fluff. And I think that most of you watching this don't pay attention to ESPN or really even care, but it kind of made me laugh because after 2 weeks ago talking about you're not a player, you don't understand, he didn't show anything about being a player that showed understanding of another type of position, and so he deserves the bag of shit that I just lit out on fire
and
out his front door, and I'm
Schultz,
not running either. I'm just
Ryan
standing
Clark
here.
and Jordan Schultz, we have the yin and yang of NFL analysis. Perhaps we'll have to figure out in a future week where the great Kyle Brandt and Dan Orlovsky fit into this narrative. I'm all about it.
Kyle played running back. I have all the respect in the world for Kyle talking about running backs. I'm quite okay about that.
All right. Tre Tucker. For real, feel it or fuck it.
I'm feeling it. Give credit to Dan Hatman of the Scouting Academy. He's always like Tre Tucker. My buddy Alex Hanowitz, who I talked to, we were talking about him last week, and he said, Dan loves this guy. And when you look at Tre, certainly a speedster, a little undersized, but someone who's been making plays over the middle, clearly has rapport with Geno Smith. And I think we've seen that growing steadily from, really week one. And, sometimes with receivers, you just need to have that rapport with a player. And Tucker was that young guy in the midst of having young guys, throwing to him over the past couple of years where, maybe they were favoring more the veterans like Devontae and Jacoby Myers, which made total sense. But Tucker's stuck around. He's had good camps. So the drum beats have been there in terms of the development. And I think it's coming to fruition. So, yeah, I think he's a good ad.
Yeah, I think I was looking at what I wrote about him back in, I want to say May or so. Tucker possesses the elite speed needed to stretch the field and score quickly. He's consistently been the only guy in offense the last 2 years who's been able to create problems downfield. Apparently, nothing has changed. Well, wide receiver wise, we'll see. We'll see. Jacoby Myers very productive. All things right. I don't know if Tre Tucker's a guy you could start every week just yet, but he's a guy you could play every week.
Yes.
If you had to. Chris Godwin is an ad now. Sounds like he could be back as soon as next week. Feel it or fuck it.
Yeah, with Mike Evans and the hamstring acting up, they're going to need another guy, especially if they're going to use Emeka Egba as their number one. And what we've seen with Egba right now, he tracks the ball really well. He is getting open downfield. A lot of the plays that he's getting open on are against zone. But he shows some skill against tight coverage at the catch point, which is nice. And so I think we're going to see, I think Godwin's going to be in a good position now to either be the flanker or be the slot when they need him while Evans is out.
I would like them not to rush him back. Week 5 was the original estimate. This is mostly about my one share of Kate Otten, who I'd like to see be a tight end 2 for a single week before all the pieces are back. Hoping for a replay of last year.
Doesn't it feel like when we talk like this and other people talk like this online, it's like this is like the fantasy neuroses on the couch moment, like
right.
Where people just are like, yeah, if who's it that I just keep adding and dropping Tyjae Spears, hoping that pick somehow. I just like that kind of neuroses thing. I had that neuroses the other day where I dropped Tyjae Spears and to add somebody else, and I said, "No, screw it. I'd rather drop Evan Ingram or whatever."
We're looking for those brief golden tickets that buy us free passes to wins. Kate Otten's was that for about 3 games last year. He was tight end 2 with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin both out. So we'll see how it goes this time around. I do think, just if you're asking me, I think Godwin probably is pretty darn close. The reporting all suggested, but also he's been practicing for 2 weeks without any issues. And they didn't put him on IR for a reason, in case he was moving a little faster or coming along a little faster. Sounds like they can get Tristan Wirfs back as well this week, and that would bode well because they have had offensive line issues. Just seeing this morning, seems like Aaron Glenn is vacillating a little bit, not making a really strong case for Justin Fields returning as the starter this week. He'll play that out. Justin Fields should be the starter for the New York Jets. Field or fuck it.
Fuck it. I think they played better with Tyrod. I think Tyrod can do a little bit more. I don't know. I don't know if I can make that argument, to be honest with you. I don't know.
Tyrod has had many opportunities to make that argument, and for some reason, they have not worked out over the long term.
But so has Justin Fields has had enough. Maybe not as many as Tyrod, but he's had enough. And maybe
it's
not
true.
this
The year in
year.
Buffalo was great for Tyrod Taylor. Sammy Watkins appreciates it greatly.
Yes.
All right.
While he was drinking. Yeah, I know. God.
All right. That's it.
Drunk Sammy Watkins. I think that's a team name.
Fuck Sammy Watkins? That's
no,
not
drunk,
my team.
Drunk Sammy Watkins.
I thought you said fuck Sammy Watkins.
I'm glad he's sober and everything's good. No, I love Sammy Watkins, even though.
Glad I'm sober too, mostly.
Yeah. Until you're on this show, you might need not to be. Anyway.
All right.
Thank you.
Let's get the hell out of here. Go through this with same exercise next week at the same time. Week 4, we will learn more. We will have more things to feel, more things to fuck, and hopefully a little less variance and a little more, I don't know, clarity to look ahead.
He's Bob Harris.
I am Bob Harris.
I'm Matt Waldman.
Goodbye. Love you.
Love you.